Hey everybody, we're back. This is African Frame, and yeah, this is another episode. We're not gonna waste time. I'm with Rob Sibeko, a writer, a director. Do check out his books. We do leave links in the description below if you're interested, if you're keen. He has a book called Bludgeon Ball. He has Jeans War. Basically, if you look at his background, you will see all his that he's busy with. And yeah, we're going to be doing what is considered to be one of the best movies of all time, Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane basically came out in 1941. It was directed and produced by Orson Welles, and the guy Orson Welles also wrote it along with Herman J. Uh, Mankiewicz. I hope I'm not butchering the man's name. And it had a budget of $839,727 and made 1.8 million re-release at the box office. I'm sure these figures are adjusted for inflation or something.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure. Yeah, sure,
yeah,
it's way high. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it's truly considered to be one of the best films of all time. And when we get into it, you guys will understand why we're saying what we're saying. I'm sure you will. The cast includes, as I've said before, Orson Welles as the title character, basically Kane. Charles Foster Kane, that's his full name. And then it has an actor called Joseph Cotton as Jedediah Leland, who's Kane's best friend. It has a lady called Dorothy Comingo. I hope I'm not butchering her name. As Susan Alexander Kane, who is Kane's mistress and second wife. And then it has Agnes Moorehead as Mary Kane, who's Kane's mother. Ruth Warwick as Emily Moore, Norton Kane, Kane's first wife. I love this woman. I love her to bits. She really stood out for me. You have Ray Collins as Jim Lou Gettys, which is Kane's political rival.
yeah,
And then you have Erskine Sanford, who's Herbert Carter, editor of the Inquirer. Um, you have Everett Sloan, Miss Bernstein, Kane's friend and employee at the Inquirer. You have William Alland, who's as Jeffrey Thompson, a reporter for the News on the March, and he also voices the narrator of the news on the March.
wow,
Yeah, you also have Paul Stewart as Raymond, who is Kane's butler. Who's
yeah,
Kane's butler. You have George Coloris as Walter Parks Thatcher. He's a banker who becomes Kane's legal guardian. Love this man. Loved him to bits. I loved him. What an actor. What an actor. Loved him. And then you have Harry Shannon as Jim Kane, Kane's father. Also loved him. He was brilliant. He has perfect comedic timing. He's able to balance drama and comedy. And then you have Buddy Swan as Charles Foster Kane at 8 years old. Beautiful, brilliant actor. You have Sonny Bob as Charles Foster Kane, the third Kane's son. So yeah, that's basically um, the cast. And then they also say here on Wikipedia that Alan Ladd, who was still unknown at the time, makes a small appearance as a reporter smoking a pipe at the end of the film. So yeah, that's basically the cast of this film.
yeah,
1951. Orson Welles at the time was 25. And the fact that he was able to do something like this is
yeah.
remarkable. Yeah, he was definitely a prodigy.
No, no,
Definitely.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely stole the show here, man. Like as the old man, as the young man,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Like, because I remember reading about this film a long time ago, and I wondered how he was able to play different ages so well. Was he an old guy who was able to play a young guy?
Yeah.
To find out that no, it was a young guy who was so good at playing different ages and having different mannerisms and even portraying different levels of maturity
Yeah.
at that age. It is truly remarkable. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Yeah, no, it was a brilliant performance.
Apparently, he was a stage actor before.
Yes.
And I
And he
do,
did radio.
yes, I know that he did radio and he did this infamous War of the Walls thing. I think people believed his story or something. I just never heard it, but I want to hear it.
They play it as fact. They played it as like a real news thing. And then, yeah, everyone took it really seriously because everyone had panicked. It was great. Because people underestimate how big radio was in those days, which is its own discussion. Like, remember, a lot of everyone we know has TVs nowadays. But like you have to remember, there's no TV at a construction site, but there is a radio.
Right.
There's no TV like on a news on a corner somewhere. But radios were everywhere. Like they were literally like if you wanted everyone to hear what you did radio.
And I guess you could also say that there was not really an influx of TV shows or movies at the time. It's not like there was a movie coming out every year, or you had like a huge playlist or archive on Netflix or something. Films would come out, but they were not as rapid, I'm assuming, and also the TV show was not as rapid. So the thing that you heard the most was radio.
And you have to remember the first sound film came out in I can't remember when, whereas it was The Jazz Singer, and I don't think it was that far away. So I mean, it's also black and white as well, and just. But this movie, in terms of grandness and scale, like Lawrence of Arabia and like Ben-Hur, all those movies only happened later. All those grand scale things, and the scale on this one, like just the mansion itself, the buildings, it's
The budget of this movie must have been really crazy because, I mean, when it starts, that's what you see. You're introduced to this, like you see this mansion.
Yeah, Xanadu, yeah.
The animals that he had, you see the exotic things, the sculptures that the statues that he.
Where's that line? There's never been a collection of animals like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, whoa, how rich was this guy? And when you're thinking that this was 1941, you start then to question the film budget, because I genuinely don't know how, like, and that's why I believe that it is one of the best movies ever made. Because in my head, I'm thinking, for that time period, how did they make this work?
Yeah. And it's so funny because it was his first like proper film, and he was like, dude, with the power of ignorance. Because I didn't know what I was doing, I managed to do it so well. It's a cool line.
I think did he say that on the Dick Cavett show? I think. Because he was asking him like, yeah, he's like, look, honestly speaking, I didn't know a lot of techniques. I didn't know things that were not supposed to, like, I didn't know that I was not supposed to do something. So I did everything. I did what I wanted to do.
And then he's a cameraman who's also a pretty cool guy. One of those like I think he described him as like one of those like typical, like a mechanic that does like a cigarette coming out of his lip. Yeah. And you said like, tap your car twice and he knows what's wrong with it. Gives you a number and gets it fixed. He was like the cameraman was like one of those guys. He was like, look, man, I know my camera's left and right. You don't have to tell me what you want and I'll do it. You know what I mean? That was his cameraman.
And the guy said from how Orson Welles was explaining it, he said the guy came to his office and he said, I want to do a movie with you. Yeah. And I feel like he got the right guy for the job. The guy's name is, I'll tell you just now. Greg Toland. Greg Toland. Just hold on for a second because I need to share my screen so that people can see what we're talking about. It's this guy over here. It says here on Wikipedia that he was an American cinematographer known for his innovative use of techniques such as deep focus, examples of which can be found in his work on also Citizen Kane, The Best Years of Our Lives, Grapes of Wrath, The Long Voyage Home. He's also a DOP or a director of photography for Wuthering Heights, The Westerner, Ball of Fire, Outlaw, Song of the South, The Bishop's Wife. Toland earned 6 Academy Award nominations for Best Cinematography. So you can see that this man knew his stuff.
Yep.
he knew his stuff. So yeah, just wanted to say that. Because they were, to me, they were a dynamic duo. The fact that they did a movie like this that stands the test of time,
Yep.
proves that. Yeah, and also the makeup work is truly great. Like, what is it? Is it prosthetic makeup? Is that what it's called?
I guess the level of that's prosthetic makeup. Obviously, if it's just something simple, one level, it's just makeup. For those levels, it's prosthetic makeup. Yeah.
I mean, look, some of it you can see that it's not so great, but for the most part, it's really good.
Yeah, maybe with Leland, maybe, but definitely with Austin, man. They killed it, man. Like some of those close-ups had me emotional, man. I wasn't even thinking about the makeup. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get it started. Cool. Oopsie daisy. Citizen Kane, basically, the opening image is of a large fence.
Right. Sorry, Rob. I think that thing is still, that sound is still.
Okay. Give me a second. Gotta be one of them. Better? Not that much better. Okay. Cool. 1 second. Now?
I can't hear anything right now. I'll let you know if I do hear anything.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just for the viewers,
I understand.
Yeah.
Or if you hear anything. Cool. So opening image of a large fence with words "no trespassing," while deep, heavy music, that creepy music is playing. Like we see this grand gate with a K on it. We see a massive derelict ruin of just this massive mansion. These monkeys chilling by themselves. It looks like it's been abandoned for 100 years.
It definitely looks like it's a horror movie when it starts.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, then we see snow, then we see a house, and then the camera zooms out brilliantly to show that it's a snow globe. And we get an extreme close-up of lips whispering the words Rosebud before the hand holding the globe goes limp and the globe smashes. The man is covered up, he's dead. Like, yeah, that was cool, man. Like with the nurse and coming in. All of it is creepy, by the way. All of it is slow. All of it is insaneness. Then suddenly, out of the blue, creepiness vanishes, kind of like with Full Metal Jacket. Sharp cut. We're hit with major music. News of the man's death. Xanadu, the home of Kubla Khan, was rebuilt in grandeur in Florida. This being the dead man's mansion. We don't actually get his name right now. And then we get, the funeral of Kane, the legend. Every newspaper in the world has his name. Kane, the owner of an empire. Kane was a poor kid, but her mother inherited a mine, and Kane was collected to live a whole new life. The story, by the way, is using the documentary format. This is something discussed in District 9.
Yes.
It's the same idea. This is using, but the scale on this one is very grand. Like that was short little close-ups and stuff. This is
this is more like a global celebrity death where you get to see footage of the man's life throughout the years, either when he just came back from traveling from across the world somewhere, or a clip from his wedding day, or bits and pieces of that nature. Yeah.
But just there's an elephant being picked up off a boat. That tells you something amazing right there.
Yes.
Like holy, just for a 1 second scene, that must have cost him a fortune. Like camels and all these things.
Yeah.
And it's just grand. That's all I can really say, dude. Then the shot provides its own. We then talk to the Guardian character, who and you see this room full of people. And it's a beautiful shot. It kind of reminds you of Kurosawa would do stuff like this, where he put like a room full of people and like have like the focus on the guy, and then a group's movements can sometimes amplify a single person's movements. So when they all like look at him and they're all like laughing and talking, it creates a new energy to it. I love that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Then the Guardian is like calls him a fascist. No, he calls him a communist, and then the Labour people call him a fascist.
Right.
And you can kind of see that this man he had a lot of enemies, and he was loved and hated. We find out that his first wife he divorced his first wife, but then the wife and the kid died, and the second wife is also divorced. We learned that he ran for president. We learned that his influence had fallen, and then he was dead.
Mm.
To me, it's just the most bizarre thing. We get a summary of the movie. Basically, get a summary of the whole movie before the movie.
Yes.
Think about it in a sense.
Yeah.
Play it as a documentary. And then it turns out no, it actually is a documentary because he cuts out and we see a bunch of reporters watching the film.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then that's when they're saying,
yeah,
something is missing. This is not enough.
not enough.
We need something more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's the editor-in-chief speaking. I don't know.
Yes. No, but definitely. Like, wait, say it again?
I'm assuming that's the editor-in-chief that was talking.
Yes. Kind of like the editor from the Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. The part comes in, they talk about Kane's last words. Then we get our lead, who's on a mission, and his mission. So technically, the story kind of starts here.
Yeah.
This is like the inciting incident almost.
Also, I think if there's something that I want to shed a light on is the quick dialogue. The quick exchange between the Dylan, yes, sir. Just make sure that you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, and you, Donald, yes, sir. And then, all right, sir. I'll make sure to get. It's like these people are so, like they're so quick in their responses.
It's snappy.
It's snappy. Yeah. So it gives you the intention, or rather, the impression that that's the nature of the business. It's quick. Everybody's on their toes. Nobody's incompetent. That's the nature of the business. And even before that, I think there's a scene that shows, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, that shows the banker reading the will, I think.
So I'm not really, when you say reading the will, I think you mean the part with the mother.
Yes.
Well, yeah, something like that. Yeah, you could say it's reading the will, but yeah, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the 15-minute mark, the reporter goes on the hunt. Our first target is the second wife. Remember, the first wife died. Miss Alexander. She's an uncooperative, broken woman. So the reporter, she tries to get information out of her, but she's just all over the place. So he gives up, but he talks to the person that she knows, and it's like, nah, she doesn't know what Rosebud is. Cool. So the reporter moves on, going to this weird, creepy, like 1984 megastructure of Thatcher. It is dark and has sharp contrast and sharp uniforms. It is like a super prison. Everything is cold and indifferent. It's kind of like a showing of money in a way. I think that's kind of him showing how, even though Thatcher's rich, he's still kind of like a cold asshole.
Was that a bank, though? Was that a bank?
No, it was more like I would say it's a vault, not a bank.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember, it's like keeps that guy's records, and the whole point is keeping the guy's records.
Yeah.
So I think it's supposed to be realistic. I think it's supposed to be exaggerated on purpose. That's why there's only one guard and one woman guarding that whole area.
Right.
It is cool. But in it, he starts reading the diary of the Mr. Thatcher, and we get Snow and the home that Kane grew up in. We see a kid playing the camera. Cooley pulls back to reveal a window and the mother and a young version of Thatcher, the man from before.
Can we also mention how beautiful that shot was? Because apparently at the time, that kind of how can I put it? Those kind of shots did not exist at that point. Like these guys were breaking stereotypical norms when it comes to filmmaking. It usually just a shot of a child playing, then you move to a shot of the mother inside the house. You don't show a child playing, zoom out, show a window, show the interior of the house, then show the parents. That was not done. That kind of, I don't know if I would say it's panning, maybe. I don't know if that's panning, but zooming out like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Definitely. You see the kid like a frame within a frame, which is its own kind of style.
Right.
Yeah, and then of course the camera work that I'm going to probably end up discussing later is you see the two people, key frame people and people in the background, the parent in the further in the back, the kid even further back. You kind of see where the priority of the shots are.
Mm,
Talking, the father in the background, and then the kid even further in the back, and you can see all four in the shot, which is
yes. All four, all making noise,
yeah.
but it's not distracting. Those in the foreground are the most important people because they're having a conversation that progresses the story.
And they have the literal power of the scene.
Yes.
They're the ones telling you what is and what isn't, and
Right.
that'll play a part later on. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, putting back. Yeah, the father. The first time I watched this movie, I used to think badly of the father, like he wasn't much. But now that I'm older, I can see he's the only one that's actually fighting for the kid's happiness. Things are very cold with the mother until the end, where Charles, aka Kane, lashes out at Thatcher, and the mom kind of pulls the child away from the father because the father's like, that kid needs a thrashing.
Yes.
And she's like, no, she needs to be away from you. This is the first time I took it as a father being abusive.
Yes.
I kind of take it as a father being a bit too ghetto for Mrs. Thatcher's liking. Because if you think about it like that, I feel like there's two ways of seeing that scene. A, like it's a hillbilly abusive father that's gonna ruin his life, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of how she sees it. In that how can I put it? But if you look at Kane's rebelliousness, maybe what Kane needed was like order, because he never really gets order throughout the entire thing. If you think about it, he's
Yes.
rebellious till the end.
Look, I agree with you. For me, though, my take was when I saw the dad from the jump, I was on his side. To this day, I'm still on his side. And
Yeah.
I did also get the mindset that he could be abusive because that's what basically the mom was alluding to. But at the same time, he was just saying that this child needs discipline. Like you're saying, he needs order.
Exactly.
Um,
Only after the kid lashes out, but otherwise, everything you've been saying before was for the kid's sake.
yes.
Yeah.
So what is Thatcher's role in this whole situation?
Basically, what he is, the mother probably realizes, hey, I'm way too ghetto to raise my kid because I'm rich. I'm rich.
Mm.
And my kid needs to I'm stuck with the hillbilly father. You know what I mean? He's probably gonna blow the money. So I'm gonna give the money to my kid immediately. You guys have a trust fund, and their entire job is to raise the money anyway. So while you're doing that, raise my
So Thatcher is a trustee.
yes.
Okay.
In the same way you get hedge funds, he's a venture capitalist kind of thing.
Yes.
So he's looking after the money, which only he will have access to until Kane turns 25.
Right.
But he also has to raise Kane, so take him to school, all that stuff.
Yeah. So he becomes the Alfred of this whole situation.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
So wonder what kind of Alfred he is. But the whole situation is so cold-blooded that I think that negatively impacts Kane, which you'll see here even more. The next scene, because we see Kane with the sled that just accumulates snow and it's left alone. Then for Christmas, I'm assuming it's the next year or that year, he gets a sled. A cutaway from the sled that's left behind. Where they are just it's a sled where there's just men in suits. There's no snow to be seen.
Yeah.
But it's even a sled anyway. You can kind of tell he's not happy about it. Yeah. But yeah, he's surrounded by men with no place to play. We get an amazing, crazy cut of Thatcher as an old man because it flows so smoothly. It's like Synecdoche, New York. I don't know if you ever watched that yet.
No.
But in the beginning of the movie, where it's one scene, right? But in that scene, time has actually moved 5 years, and you don't know it. You just have the 8 milk thing, cut. And this one kind of gets something similar to that because He cuts Sonny's. He went from white to gray because it looks away. It looks back. He's gray.
Yeah.
He starts talking to the guy.
Because he was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like he says the same thing every year during Christmas to Kane. Yeah.
And then cuts to him being an old man, giving advice. Now that this man is now that Kane is 25, here's what he has and what he can do with it. But turns out Kane doesn't care about all of that stuff. He only cares about the newspaper. Thatcher is so pissed he breaks the fourth wall and looks at us.
Dude, I loved that moment. I loved that moment.
We're supposed to do something.
Oh man, I loved that. Like for me, the comedy in this film is well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Because
so slick.
It's not too childish.
Yeah.
Even the performances are not too childish. It's more like, is he mad? Like he wants to buy a newspaper. Is he mad? You know? And after that, showing Thatcher reading the newspaper every single day and looking at us from in some way, shape, or form and saying he did.
Yeah, they're like trade group exposed, which means this man, Kane, is going after Thatcher with every fiber of his being.
Yes.
Every article is an article designed to destroy Thatcher's company.
Yes.
It is a straight up attack on him, and Thatcher's just trying to come back. He's not even trying to get revenge. He's just being like, please stop. You know what I mean? Fourth wall, reading the newspaper, attacks the Guardian. It's a crazy montage. And it just keeps going after him. Yeah. 25 minutes in, we get to see Kane for the first time.
Yes. This is the moment where he's sipping tea, right? He's just, for me, and I think I told you this offline, that for me, I feel like Orson Welles could have been, if Orson Welles was 25 in 2023, he would have been the perfect Howard Stark if they made a Howard Stark solo movie.
Definitely.
Perfect. So smooth, poised. Like he exudes a 25-year-old's confidence in that one scene. He's in control. Everybody's just working around him. We do get introduced to the two characters, like who are his closest friends. They do speak to Thatcher in some way, shape, or form. It's a great introduction, actually, to those characters, but you don't really pay attention to that. You don't really even pay attention to them because you're busy focusing on Thatcher. Because I love Thatcher, bro.
Yeah.
From how you're writing it, it doesn't seem like you're not his biggest fan, but I love Thatcher. Like Thatcher, for me, he makes me laugh. He reminds me of Uncle Scrooge, from DuckTales. Like someone who who loves his money so much and he doesn't really get why his nephew is doing what he's doing, type of thing.
Yes.
But anyway, Orson Welles is sitting there drinking his tea, smoking his pipe.
Do you see the cut where it goes in the newspaper and he pulls the newspaper down and there's Orson Welles chilling? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great transitions here are fantastic. That's what I like. They put it's almost as if they stopped what they were doing and set a month aside just for them to think about transitions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like a dance. The entire film is like a dance.
Meanwhile, like if you think about even the original Star Wars didn't do that stuff. Like they would do wipes. Microsoft Excel wipes.
Yeah, which is something they still do to this day.
Bizarre when you think about it. And then you got things like this where it looks at a window, then the guy walks to the window and he's older all of a sudden. It pulls back. Yeah. There's another cut that a transition that I'm going to do later that I basically gush over. So yeah,
I think the reason these things were done were deliberate because I think none of those things were done at the time. So they were just making sure to do things that were not done in cinema at that point in time.
Exactly. And I think the question of God, I feel like I'm going back to Star Wars. It's one of those things where because you can do it now, it's the only thing we do now. So for example, CG, because we can do it, we do it all the time when something was done live and it would have looked better.
Right.
For example, The Mandalorian, I'm sure a lot of those shots could have been done in the open instead of that special studio of theirs. I know in my opinion, I'm not a fan of House of Dragons. I felt like it was less good because they did something similar. I don't know if you've seen these new studios they're doing now. So what they do is they put the TV, they now, instead of a green screen, they now put a giant TV basically.
Okay.
Now Star Wars did it different. They still do kind of a type of CG, but like House of the Dragon, and apparently Avatar as well. They put like these, imagine a 1,000-inch TV.
Right.
A curve with ultra 45K, and then Aang like walks in front of it and like acts in front of it. Now, obviously, there's only so much you can do in that position.
Right.
So it kind of limits your movements. And I feel like because people are doing that, we're losing things that you get like in things like Citizen Kane, where creative. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like that's the problem with transitions nowadays versus those ones. Like you had to be creative in a way. But there's a whole thing about that with the whole French New Wave that gets discussed where like transitions are like, where that one, they did their hardest to break away from Hollywood.
Right.
They were fighting to be smooth. They were fighting to be jagged. And it's kind of like in the modern day, there's kind of a mix of that. Scorsese is a good example of the French New Wave where his cuts are jagged. Where like sometimes you even cut to the same person twice. And you're like, what is happening right now? Because Scorsese is that kind of person. But anyway, let's get back to it. Yeah. 1 second.
And I guess you could also say that you can see the arrogance in Kane, because he knows that this thing is pissing off Thatcher, because you can see it in his smile. When he looks at Thatcher and he speaks to him, he smiles.
Having a great time. He's like, it's fine. There's no secrets here. You can tell this man. My newspaper is for the readers. And right here is our number one reader. He'll tell you the problem with every single issue.
And he's right, because Thatcher buys the newspaper every single day to read about what Kane say about the company.
Exactly.
And basically, Thatcher is telling him that, look, man, if you continue to do this, your newspaper is going to go, it's not going to survive, because
he's spending
you're basically killing your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, are you aware that you're wasting resources? I mean, this company is not even making that much money, I think. You're making $1 million worth of a loss every single year.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm so rich that even if I do lose $1 million every year, I'll only lose this job in 60 years.
Yeah, and he still grins again after saying that, because it's like basically what he's telling Thatcher is, you won't stop me. You cannot stop me.
Exactly, which is ironic. Like for me, I swear, ye old English and rap music have so much in common when it comes to spitting bars at each other. You know what I mean? Spitting bars at each other, because that's a bar, dude. Like
no, that was a mega bar. And also, I think Thatcher was even willing to pay him to stop.
Anything to get him to stop. Yeah.
It's like, no, you can give me $1,000, and I'm assuming it was a lot of money back then, because Thatcher's like, $1,000. Like, okay, it's 1941, so.
But technology literally says, I don't care about money, which is fantastic.
Kane cared about the people. That is true.
Exactly. Which comes back later on, but I like that he made the note of that. Yeah. He's so cocky that years later, he actually does go broke and he has to sign away his money. So yeah, then we get the next scene, which is the bankruptcy scene. Suddenly Kane is super old again. So I guess it is 60 years later. And he's signing away the newspapers, all the other newspapers now.
Thatcher's still alive for some weird reason.
Yes.
I don't think it's 60 years later, though.
Yeah, but it's much later.
Yeah.
A super famous piece of blocking, known to many a film student. The two characters are large in the frame.
In the foreground.
Yes, while they talk. And then in the background is Kane walking away.
Mm.
And he looks even smaller because the building is so bizarre, because it looks like the building is oversized in a way. Like the windows are way up there.
Yeah.
Like you look like a kid while at the same time being small.
Right.
There's a thing, I think I've talked about it before in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. and also Lord of the Rings does it with the perception
Okay.
perception shots where you make like a big apple extra big, put it in the background, so when you're standing next to it, it makes you look small.
You did mention this
Yeah.
in Lord of the Rings. I don't think you mentioned it in the Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, but I do remember when I was speaking about Lord of the Rings, because we do know that they didn't use CGI to show the Hobbit versus Gandalf, like that size thing. So I
Exactly.
guess it's a depth of field trick.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
yeah, so it feels like that's what's being used here, though I wouldn't say exactly, but
Right.
yeah. So that is the thing that he goes in, and then he comes back. And he comes back, and yeah, Kane comes back. It turns out he's not losing all his money just yet. He's actually still got a little bit of money, and Kane is standing over Thatcher. By the end, yeah, the Great Depression having hit. Yeah, he lost the mega fortune, but his rebellion against the Thatcher, but Thatcher, the man who stole his childhood, is still he's still on it. Like he's still on that revenge tip. Like I feel like he deliberately blames Thatcher for everything.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly speaking, I never really understood Kane's problem with Thatcher. Like from the first time they meet each other, where the parents are introducing Kane to Thatcher. Kane just had a problem with Thatcher. Like I think he didn't he wrestle him, and Thatcher's like, "Hey, you almost yeah." It's like, what do you have a problem with me so much? I didn't do anything to you.
The way I see it is he wants to be with his family. He does not want to leave these people no matter what.
Right.
But Thatcher becomes a symbol of the person that's taking that happiness away from him.
Right.
He has to go with Thatcher, leave his parents behind. And he
Right.
doesn't want to do that. So he
Right.
blames Thatcher.
Right.
That becomes his target of his hatred. He can't blame his parents because one second he was happy with them, the next second they tell him to get into that man's car.
Right.
But I mean,
But as old as he is now, he knows better. He knows that, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
But I don't think that the brilliant streak never ends because there's a line there where he says we kicked out of every single college he's ever been to.
Yeah, Harvard, Princeton, everywhere. So
Kicked out.
you also, I guess you also realize that um he uses Thatcher as the punching bag, basically.
Mm.
Thatcher is basically a victim of this man's
Well,
unresolved anger towards his parents abandoning him.
yeah. And he probably had a fairly cold childhood. I mean, you saw the part where like men in suits are giving him a present in the middle of nowhere.
He didn't have friends. It's like he didn't have friends, yeah.
Exactly. Well, then that scene ends. We go back to the diary. And turns out that was the last page. That's as far as they ever spoke to each other again. Was a cool line there where it's like, I could have been, if I was poorer, I could have been a greater man. Where it's like, Bernstein, you did almost too good a job of being a banker for me to have really been able to expand. I love that whole thing. I thought it was a pretty cool final.
That was Kane, right? That said
Yeah,
that.
Thatcher, when they're like having the last talk before they never talk to each other again. Basically, Kane is like, I could have been if I was poorer, I could have been a greater man. As in for like, how can you be a great man when you're already rich? Because you just kind of take things, just kind of do things.
Right.
But whereas Kane is like he's the kind of person who could have pulled himself up and become great.
You're absolutely right. They never actually got to speak. Like that was the last time we saw Thatcher.
Yeah. So yeah.
Please continue. I think I cut you off there. Sorry.
No problem. No, you're right. But yeah. So yeah, he feels like his climb to greatness was cheated because it was just started at the top. Now I'm here. You know what I mean? So yeah. The reporter leaves and he goes to Bernstein. This is a strange scene as everything is oversized. The table looks big. The chair Bernstein is on looks ridiculously massive. So he walks away from the giant chair to a more reasonable one, and you can kind of see now he's more relaxed in the smaller chair.
And I guess you could also say that. I don't want to be reaching here, but I guess you could say that it just goes to show you how larger than life both of these characters were, Thatcher and also Wells. They were so larger than life that everything around them was so huge that anybody who got in their space without understanding them would feel small, basically.
Yes, I could say that. Yeah, you could. I was gonna say that chair is still Kane's chair, even though he's not there anymore. But yes, that's the same idea.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we learn about his friend Leland. In that discussion, we kind of learn about who would maybe know more about Kane.
Right.
That was Leland, because turns out Bernstein also doesn't know much. So we're back in time, and we're taking over the newspaper. Yeah. So we kind of learned that Leland and Thingamajiggy were always together when they were getting expelled out of everything.
Since they were kids, basically.
Yeah. Leland was poor, but because his dad was rich, but then became poor, he still had access to rich people. So that's how they kind of knew each other, and they bounced around from place to place. And now they're still best of friends. Yeah. So now this is the part where you talk about snappy dialogue. This is almost its own skit. Like when they're in the whole thing, and then they type da-da-da, and then like dog with the Kane thing, like nice to meet you, Mr. Kane. No, I'm da-da-da. It's like, no, I'm the so-and-so. It's like, oh, yes, nice to meet you, Mr. Leland. It's like, no.
I thought you were going to touch on the... That's how it starts, basically. It shows Kane and Jedediah, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Leland, yeah.
Yeah. They're talking about, this place. I mean, this is not a place to stay in. This is not a place to sleep in, because they basically come in and they have like everything. It's like, how people from different parts of the province come to Gauteng. They have their fridge, they have their couch, they have their bed. So Kane's intention is to sleep at the office, literal, right?
Yeah.
So
a little bit later, but yeah.
so
you're right.
Jedediah is like, dude, this is not a place to sleep in, Anyway, as they go out, and just as they leave, then this character that's explaining the story comes in, and and then he goes out. Oh no, he's the one that actually has his belongings.
Yes, he has the sleeping stuff.
Yeah, he's the one that actually has his belongings, not Kane and Jedediah. It's actually the person who's narrating the story at this point.
Yes.
What's his name again?
Bernstein.
Yeah, he's the one that has the luggage.
Yes. So like Bernstein first, he arrives, right, with the bedding stuff, and the guy asks him, "This is a newspaper place." He's like, "Yeah, I know it is." Cool. But then Kane comes in, talks to the name you said.
Jedediah.
Erskine Sanford, the guy who plays that guy, the newspaper guy.
Oh,
they have a whole dialogue, and then which is hilarious.
Yeah, no, that scene is great. Going back to what you're saying, because I didn't mean to cut you off. Brilliant actor. He looks like he's from a Disney cartoon. That man. He is so animated. He comes in and says, "Mr. Kane," he's referring to Jedediah as Mr. Kane. And even Kane is not even offended by this. Goes to him and says, "Mr. Jedediah," this and that, and and Kane is like, "Is everybody standing up because of me?" He's like, "Oh, you are Mr. Kane. My sincere apologies, sir."
He just gives up. He just gives up and just carries on talking, basically, because he realizes this is taking too long. Yeah. It's fantastic. And then basically Thingamajiggy's like, "This is how we're going to be running the newspaper from now." And he's like, "No, man, that's not how newspapers work." He's like, "No, this is how this newspaper works from now on."
This newspaper is going to be run, yeah.
Yeah, and then that guy leaves all offended and stuff. Yeah, it was really good.
I think one of the first, just before that, as they kept talking, that's when, is it Bernstein you said?
Yeah.
He's a bit clumsy. He falls over the luggage.
Yeah.
He comes in, and as he comes in, then the guy that we're talking about, the animated guy, treats that guy now like he's Kane. And no, it didn't necessarily treat him like Kane. I think he was just introducing him. So Kane is busy calling him. I just forgot that guy's name. He keeps calling him. Yes. So this guy thinks that anybody else other than Charleston is calling him. So he keeps on saying yes, sir. So you realize that this guy he's not gonna cut it with these three characters that came into this business. this old man is not gonna cut it because
Never see him again, if I'm correct.
no, we do see him because what happens was the first article that they start reading. It's about a missing. It's
Yes.
about a missing
Still the
wife.
Yeah. Yes, that's still the same scene. Where it's like it's not the same newspaper from now on. Where it's like, how come you guys didn't write about this missing wife? And it's like someone needs to go to the husband's wife and says, produce your wife, or otherwise you're going to jail.
Yes. And
Yeah.
must wear like a fake badge and wear a uniform. And if they say that, where is your warrant? You must say something about what did you say?
Well, yeah, he says you must say you're a police officer, and if you ask for a badge, you just start yelling that he's an anarchist. I think he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and make it loud enough so the neighbors hear you, and then yeah, it was.
So basically, Kane was just saying, look, you need to like for you to actually be able to get a proper story about the people, for the people, you need to become an investigative journalist, and you need to use unorthodox methods to get what you're really looking for.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and that old man is about ethics. He's about doing things the right way by the book. And Kane, on the other hand, is like, dude, because that old man is like, look, if we went around trying to find news about every woman in this community,
yeah,
then this newspaper will just basically stick to it will basically just stop running.
yeah, it'll be a gossip thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about dialogue is that it's very smooth back and forth. Now, nowadays, people don't do that anymore because people consider it to be too inauthentic. Meanwhile, I think it's still the best. But
yeah, it seems like it's too rehearsed. Like it's unrealistic for you guys to have ready-made answers. To already know what you're gonna say without stuttering, without pausing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think it plays off pretty smoothly. The style that they're discussing right now kind of reminds me of Anchorman 2, in the fact that, in the same way that Anchorman 2 kind of made a change to the news as we know it, the same principle is kind of applied here. In that this man is going to do whatever it takes to really bring the news to the people, kind of vibe. Because he's determined to make a change. The papers go out with Kane's Declaration of Principles. There's an basically, which turned out to be a big deal because it turns out, yeah, because that's when Leland is at his most proud to know Kane. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he keeps that piece of paper and he's like, this is going to change the world, right here. The Declaration of Independence, right here.
Right.
Cool. There's an amazing match cut. Oh, yeah. Then when the paper goes out, they're like, okay, we need some of these people to start working here. And you just picture of these guys, like, we need these guys to start working here. And there's this stunning match cut. Other people sitting in the photo, and the camera pulls away as if to play it as if there was no cut, and the camera picture just came to life. And next thing you know, we're in the room with those people.
The same people. So basically, the people that you're talking about are the competitor, the other newspaper company that's basically rivaling the editor, which is the paper that Ken has bought. So they looked at a photo, they saw that these are the top journalists of that competitor, opposition, company, or rival company. Then he bought every one of them 3 years later or 6 years later. I don't remember. I think they had
6 years, but yeah,
1,600 something. There was a number that was on the.
It was 600 and something, 600,000 and four something issues sold that day in one day.
Yes.
I think,
yeah. So he beat that record 6 years later. But I just want to say. Going back to.
Yeah. And they beat it in 6. Yes. Sorry.
Sorry. Please repeat that.
No, I said you're right. It was. Sorry, I misunderstood you in the first place. It was he got them in 6 years, but it took 20 years to get them together. So he beat that record. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the opposition. It took them 20 years to get to beat that to get to 1,000
together.
Oh, damn! That's a long time.
I'm gonna snatch him away in 6, and in less, and he did. Yeah.
I also wanted to say that going back to the Declaration of Independence scene is as he's writing those things, Jedediah makes it clear immediately, and which is something I think very important. Even though it's different perspectives, Jedediah says, you used I in your second sentence, right? And Kane is like, yes, I did that deliberately so that the people can know who I am, in a sense that they know that there's a human behind this. There's someone that definitely cares about them and their well-being,
Exactly.
which
Hold accountable. Yeah.
which is somewhat a thorn in Jedediah's flesh, because if he sort of gets the impression that Kane wants to be loved so badly, that's why he's using this I.
I would say not yes and no. I would say yes, you're right. That's exactly what happens. But in this moment, if you see the scene where he's like looking up at him, like, this Jedediah acknowledges the I in that, and then Thingamajig is like, yeah, because I am Thingamajig. And you can see the way Jedediah looks him in the eye, that he believes everything Kane is saying. He is the 100% loyal servant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like what Watson is to Sherlock, basically.
Exactly. So he 100% believes in the message, at least before the 6-year cut. That's when you first see the first crack.
Yes.
In the next scene, when they're at the party,
Yes.
Leland, who's his best friend, who's been looking up to him for 6 years, questions the loyalties of getting these 6 people here.
Because he's talking to who's that guy again? Brendan. Bernstein, sorry. He's talking to Bernstein and he says, what's your take about the fact that we have these 6 guys now here running the company? Don't you think that it would change the company? Or it will change Kane? And I think Bernstein says, no, it won't.
Yeah, yes. You kind of mixing it up a little bit there, but you're almost right. Basically, in front of Bernstein, what he says is these 20 guys had their own declaration. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. But now they've abandoned those declaration of principles to come here.
Right.
So what's to stop them from abandoning the next set of principles?
Right.
You know I mean, and then Bernstein argues, no, man, they're doing their job and they're going to do their job to our way. And then I think he said it to Kane. I don't know if he says to Bernstein. I can't remember.
No, he does say it to Bernstein, not to Kane. Because remember, at this time, Kane is busy dancing. He's basically attending to the host because it's a party, right? He has a brass band out there. He's dancing with these female dancers. I think he even kisses one of them.
Yes.
So he's in the moment, but Jedediah is worried.
Yeah.
Because I think he said something to the effect of, I'm not worried whether they will I think he said something like, what I'm afraid of is them changing him.
Well, yes, in a way. He says, no, what if instead of him changing them, what if they change him without him knowing it? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. But anyway, Kane's in this convo, like the bankruptcy talk, we can see Kane is in the center on the floor. And again, when you cut to the other angle, we see Kane in the reflection, which for an old movie is a super badass move. So Kane is always in the center frame. Kane's frame, cool. And then we're back to normal time. Well, we cut to the future within the flashback, and we see that Kane is engaged. They talk about his influence and how he really lost everything. There's a cool line. Is it Bernstein who says it? Where he says, old age is the only disease you don't look forward to being cured of. I was like, that is a bar.
Yeah, no, that was because he was talking to the journalist at the time. He's talking to the guy who's basically trying to find out if there's meaning to Rosebud, and that's when he tells him that. And you can tell that, this is amazing. You can tell that apart from Thatcher, almost everybody that this man visits has made a lot of money through Kane.
Yeah.
their own money through Kane.
Yeah.
Through the success of the multiple newspapers that Kane owns.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, 50 minutes in. We're now 50 minutes in. We see there's still no Rosebud. Now we officially go to Leland. But he also knows nothing about Rosebud, but he can talk to us about Emily. And we get one of the most famous montages of all time. The couple at the dinner table bouncing back and forth. They compliment each other. He makes time for her. We see the joy getting sucked out of the room, their smiles fading, the table getting bigger and then further apart until they are silent and the table is huge and they're both on opposite sides.
Right.
Mm.
So you see a entire timeline of their love for each other or their marriage in a nutshell.
As it
Because
gets
she's complaining about how, Kane is spending a lot of time at the Inquisitor.
yep, that's when it's still being cute. And then
Yes.
she's going after my uncle. Well, no, she says the president, he says your uncle.
Uncle. Because he's basically writing articles about her uncle,
Yes,
who's the
who's the
president.
current president.
She takes it
And
personally. He's speaking about principles, and remember, the Inquisitor is about the people.
yes,
So that's why there's a bit of a conflict of interest there.
yeah. And then that for that one moment, but in the end, she's really just trying to talk back at him for different things, and he's just not accepting it until eventually she's like, but then the people will say, it's like whatever I tell them, and it ends like that, and then the next thing they don't even talk to each other, pure silence.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
before we
Yeah.
go further, how did you feel about the wife when you were watching that scene?
I thought, she was a happy woman until, things got cold. She's poised, royalty, very opposite of the new girl, definitely.
Look, for me, that's why I mentioned it when we were talking about the casting.
Mm-hmm.
This is the perfect woman for Kane, bro. This is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Archie comics,
A
but
little bit. I know
like
the
there's
name.
there's there's Veronica, there's Betty, right? One
Yes.
would argue that Betty is the better girlfriend because she's more down to earth. She's like the girl next door type, right? But she was a combination of both in the sense that her personality, like she was down to earth, even though she was from an affluent background, but
Mm-hmm.
she had the looks and the character of, she had the looks and the demeanor of Veronica, even though she was down to earth like Betty. So my point is, she was on paper the perfect woman for a man like Charleston Kane. I don't
Yeah.
think any other woman would have been able to.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But unfortunately, Kane is
Is a
he
narcissist, bro.
he fights all positions. His natural state is fighting. So
Which
when
goes back to which goes back to his relationship with Thatcher,
yeah,
um, his abandonment issues.
yeah,
He always wants to be in charge.
absolutely. He wants control of the situation,
Yes.
and yeah, we'll get to what that accumulates to definitely. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, cool. There's a moment where they talk about where Leland talks about Charles being obsessed with love, determined to be in love. Then we see the second wife.
Can I just say something before we get to the second wife thing? Before the journalist goes to the second wife, is man, this actor, the actor who plays Jedediah. Oh, I think, man, dialogue, the way dialogue is written in this movie is truly remarkable.
Yeah,
'Cause even though he keeps on talking about all of these things, he stops himself and says, "Are you sure you don't have any cigarettes?" And it's like, oh my goodness,
yeah.
it's like you see,
There's character to him. Yes, he's got character.
yes, you see the character. He's not just he's just not a device to tell a story. There's
Yeah.
more to this man than just someone who's telling a story to the journalist.
Even though to me he's a bit more of an enigma, but I'm gonna get there. Definitely, we're gonna get there because I want to talk about him when we get to the end of his scenes. because he's a very strong enigma, that man. There's things about him that I wonder. But
Okay.
we're not going back to the second wife yet. We're just talking about the second wife, how they met.
Oh,
We're still with Leland.
oh, you're talking about the toothache moment.
Yes.
Right.
That's 55 minutes in. We get the second wife, who Kane got splashed with mud. She helps him,
Yes.
and he helps her keep distracted from the toothache by wiggling his ears. Can you do that, buddy?
This, yeah, I can. And I guess, man, this movie we can go on forever. There's
Yeah.
a major difference between the first wife and this now woman that he just met, in a sense that yes, she does have a good heart, but she takes pride in being ignorant, right? Because how can you not know Charles Kane? He was one of the richest men in the world. He's running multiple newspapers, and
Yeah.
multiple newspapers have him in it somewhere. He
Yeah.
features in this newspaper almost on a daily basis. There's news, radio stations and all of that that talk about him. He is even running for office at one point. Are you telling me that you've never come across this man? And she genuinely has not.
It's perfection, because whereas Thingamajiggy, the first wife may remind him of his current rich life,
Yes.
he reminds him of his old life, the
Right.
Colorado life.
Right.
Yeah. And if you pay attention, we actually see the snow globe on the table. There's a scene where she's talking to him, and you see her talking to the reflection. If you look down, you can actually see the snow globe. So yeah, Kane is taken by the idea that she likes him without knowing who he is.
Yes.
That's enough. Done.
Right.
And yeah, we get a clue about the childhood storage, about him keeping the stuff there. Anyway, she sings for him, and yeah, he gets blown away by that. And we get a fade and a change of clothes to show the flow of time. Like she's been singing for him. Do you know what I mean?
That was a quick situation right there. Eh? It was quite quick.
Yeah, but it got the job done. It was quite. I agree. I
Like
think
the door closes, and when it opens, you can see that now Kane is a bit cleaner than he was when he went in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do see a bit of mud here and there to show that it's not perfect, but he's in a better state than he was.
Yeah.
When they went in.
Yeah, and the room is kind of different, but yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, did he sleep with her or what? You know.
Probably did that first day. We'll never know, but by later on he definitely was.
Right.
Then we consider transitions that show his transition from Leland talking him up to him giving a massive speech, which was your first background, and we see his wife and child. This is the story's high point. By the way, we're halfway through the story. He has a wife, he has a kid, friends, politician. He's a politician now, and he's got power. Well, he's a successful politician, but he's running for politics. He's in politics.
I think he wants to be governor.
His dream. Yeah, he's going for governor of Florida. I think that's where the Xanadu is built. So I think it's Florida. I don't think it's New York. I feel like it might be New York. No. Yeah. And this is something that is a kind of interesting point, because we've discussed this more than once about a story's high point and a story's low point in the middle of the storyline.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. I love this because this is just like the movie we did before called Basic. In that one, instead of a midpoint high point, yes, there we go. This is the high point. In that one, in Basic, it was a low point.
Right.
When they to each other and they're talking about how difficult Leigh West's life, the whole Leigh West situation was. That was a low point, and then when the moment hits that low point, something new hits. In Basic the other day, they were talking about how difficult it was to be whatever, and then they're like, "Oh my God, wait! Dunbar said it was a gunshot, not a bomb." Then the story kicks off immediately.
Right.
What this one does is instead of a gunshot, what it does is it's Kane's wife suddenly mentioning an address, and you see Kane's eyes go, eh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knows the address.
Yes, he knows the address.
I got a letter. Okay, before we get there, I just want to say he declares publicly that he's going to take out his rival. who's also running for governor.
He goes the full locker up angle, dog. He goes full, I'm going to get this man incarcerated.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Like he declares it as a fact.
Yes.
So,
So basically, going back to his point about putting the people first, he believes that it is his moral obligation to get rid of this man so that he can be in power and serve the people.
Yes, because he's a reformist and he wants change in politics. And yeah, they even mentioned it before where it's like this set reformist back 20 years. So yeah, you got to get that later on and now and before. So this is a big deal. And he says he's gonna go with her. We get the reveal of the other woman. And what's his name again? Geddes, right? The politician, Geddes.
Yeah, Geddes or something along those lines.
Yeah. And Geddes shows the truth about the affair. And now this is the moment of truth.
Right.
Things might be settled here.
Right.
Now it's all about Kane and his ego and his need to rebel.
Right.
And by the way, this is what people mean by a character flaw. This is for the writers out there. A character flaw should be something a character can't help, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it beats logic.
That the character can what?
It's something a character can't beat, even when it's illogical. Okay. I call this the monkey trap. You know how you catch a monkey? You put a banana inside a jar, and when the monkey grabs the banana, his fist gets stuck in the jar. So you can't get the banana unless he lets go. And because he can't let go, he's stuck with the jar in his hand.
It becomes a bit of a dilemma for the monkey.
Exactly. Because but the monkey's flaw is that it's too greedy and it can't think too far ahead, right? To think, let go of if I'm able to find a different way. It's got the banana in its hand, so this can go for it, and that's how. So that's the same principle, right? So all he has to do is let go. That's all, but he won't, so he's trapped. In basic, we went over Hardy and Osborn's traits. They did not have flaws. They had traits, which is different. They had characteristics that made them unique. You know what I mean? But there was nothing about their characters that punished them. You know what I mean? So they did not have character flaws. They had character traits. Those are two different things.
Right.
Then I talk about Tony Stark. Yeah, Tony Stark in Civil War is presented with Bucky having killed his parents. It's logical for Tony to understand that he was not in control. Tony doesn't care. Nice.
Yeah, for me, this is one of the best moments in this entire.
Huge.
First of all, Orson Welles plays beautifully as a mature man who is caught between a rock and a hard place because he's just about to win this election. He knows he's got it in the bag. There's no way he's going to lose, right? But the fact that his wife is now, and for a moment I was like, women, are you so slow to actually realize that this man is cheating on you? Like, does it take that long for you to figure it out? But I feel like she did figure it out. She was just waiting for his confession, right? Yes. The impression that I was getting, but also the fact that the governor had to go so low, to get Kane to basically back out of the voting. Well, that was what he was expecting.
Yes, but
everybody's basically looking at him, wondering what he's gonna do. First of all, his rival, his political rival, is like, dude, you have two choices. The first choice is you back out of the thing, right? Then you travel, you go somewhere, and that's it. Or you become stubborn and try to do your own thing, and we'll see how far you can go. The wife has already made the decision for him. It's like, you have no other choice. You have to back out. And then the mistress is on some, I promise you, this man said that I was going to be homeless. I had no choice. I'm sorry that I blabbed. I wasn't supposed to blab, but I blabbed because he threatened me,
Mhm.
So he's going through 3 people who are pushing him in a corner to make decisions. One wants forgiveness. One says you don't have a choice. The one says, dude, you lost. At the same time. Brilliant.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all I needed to say. I just needed to share that. I found that to be extremely captivating at that point. It was amazing storytelling.
All right. Yeah, it was definitely. But also don't forget the guy basically says you printed an article with me in prison stripes for my kids to see. So he was like, I'm just giving back to what you gave me, man. So yeah, that,
Mm.
yeah.
Right.
But yeah, onto my example about the thing. I was gonna talk about like, never mind actually.
No,
Uh,
please say it, bro. Please say it, bro.
um, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Tony Stark doesn't care, but it's not set up outside the series, not really. Another example another example involving Tony Stark would be Tony Stark doesn't like having paperwork given to him. He dismisses it, and it is punished in Iron Man 3 when he dismisses his enemy and someone didn't help him. So,
Aldrich Killian.
yes. So I would describe that more of a quirk than a full-on character flaw. A best example of a character flaw would be Iron Man believing he has all the answers to it all and acting unilaterally, and then creates Ultron. Now,
Wait a minute. What did you mean by what did you want to say about Civil War when he discovers that Bucky killed his parents? Like,
basically, he doesn't care. Like his indifference, because basically in the movie they set up that Tony loves his parents, and then when Bucky turns out that Bucky killed his parents, but it was under mind control. When Tony finds that out, he doesn't actually care. He still wants to get revenge.
right.
That is wrong, but I wouldn't call it a full-on character flaw. You know what I mean? That's not an issue that kind of flows within his personality. That's just rage. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and understandable rage.
And then you get the issue with him not liking paperwork. You see it in the first movie, you see it in the third movie, and then you see it being punished in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, he usually delegates this paperwork stuff to Pepper, right?
Exactly. So then basically the idea is I don't think that's a character flaw. That's more of a character gimmick, like a cool, quirky thing that a character does that in the end gets punished by the third movie.
Right.
And the proper example of a proper character flaw would be Tony Stark, who is such a three-dimensional character. He's got all of these things going for him. Is him wanting to do everything himself. That's a character flaw. They call it the paragon flaw. Superman has a similar flaw. Superman likes to do things himself, and because he likes to act first, it ends up causing trouble. Like, for example, him versus Shazam in the Justice League TV show. When he just decides, I don't trust Shazam, Lex Luthor's up to something. Shazam's like, yo, dude, stop it, Lex Luthor's not up to something. And then Superman just starts beating the crap out of Shazam. That's an example of like a character flaw.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's common help.
And his flaw is basically, I like what you're saying because through his flaw, you understand why he would need to be part of the Justice League and not just be a solo hero, even though he's aware that there's a league out there, because he needs other people to actually
keep him in check. Yes.
Yeah, keep him in check. Yeah.
This is what Iron Man says in Civil War. We need to be kept in check after the whole Ultron situation, which was a result of his own character flaw. Right. And the same thing happens here. Kane can't let it go. In fact, he even says, no one's going to tell me what to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Insane. No, dude. There's a solution here. Yes, you lost this election. You'll win the next one, maybe. You never know.
That's what his wife is saying.
It'll be okay.
Because his wife is like it's not rocket science, dude.
Yeah.
Right now, you need to think about me and your son. Like,
exactly.
Move on. Let's. But Ken is like, nope.
Yeah, nope.
I'm not gonna allow him. I'm not gonna allow this man to get what he wants.
Exactly. He's like, I can fight this. I can win. And then he gets his medicine.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's something that actually, again, the character flaw discussion is a lot of times a lot of movies make a lot of mistakes in that they'll reward you for your character flaws. Like, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of like, there's a lot of movies where like, you'll be like, okay, what you just did there is a bad guy thing. But oh, look, the story turned out okay, even though what you just did was a bad guy thing. Where it's like, nah, dude, that should have led to punishment. And what I love about the story is that it led to punishment because he loses the election almost immediately.
Yes.
Like he loses over 1 million votes. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yep, and you kind of cool. Yeah, this is one hour and 10 minutes in. Yeah, the story's out. Even the papers, even his own papers to show his defeat. Leland, who's painted as the adoring friend, the true follower, becomes a stick in the mud. They mentioned it once before. And then he goes from a true follower to a stick in the mud to the person who challenges this man the most. And then he becomes his harshest critic. Leland, or Jedediah, as you like to say, just becomes this like thing, and he becomes drunk, and he goes after him, and he does an interesting thing where the way he goes after him is fantastic. Like he talks about like how you think you're the voice of the people, you think the rights that you're giving are a gift, you think giving. Well, it turns out, and I feel like it's talking about unions or something. It turns out that people have figured out a way of uniting on their own, and they get what they want as a right, not as a gift that you give them.
Yeah, because that's why I started getting the impression that Kane is a narcissist in a way, because but we only see this narcissism through Jedediah's eyes. I think had Jedediah not said certain things that he was saying to the journalist or how he was addressing Kane here, I wouldn't have picked it up. But it's like the more he speaks, it's like, do you think that the people will not be able to behave a certain way or think certain things just because you are not around?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah. Though I think narcissist is a strong word because in these days, mental health wasn't a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Christian narcissist didn't exist.
Right.
But I'm glad that's its own discussion, actually. Mental health and storytelling. But I agree, no, he's absolutely a narcissist. No, definitely a narcissist. But the question is Tony Stark a narcissist? Well, yes. He's a functioning narcissist, I guess you could say.
I guess there's layers to narcissism, I guess, because at the same time, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, easy though. But I guess you could say he's a control freak, maybe.
I don't know. I think there's narcissism there, but it's absolutely a person determined to control his whole situation, but not to the point where he's so complicated, right? Because I know there's extreme versions of control freaks. You know what I mean?
Right.
But because control freak is such a wide expression, because it includes Munchausen. I don't know if you've ever heard of Munchausen by proxy. You get Munchausen by proxy. Munchausen is where you pretend to be sick or you make yourself sick. Then Munchausen by proxy is where you poison your kid, basically.
Wait,
and then you
that hypochondria?
No, that's when you're scared of germs.
Oh, okay.
Munchausen by proxy, like the movie Sixth Sense, where the mother keeps putting bleach in the kid's porridge. That's Munchausen by proxy. And then Munchausen is where you eat that shit yourself. It's a real thing. There's kind of like a level of control there where you want to be in control of the situation. You just want to be appreciated. And that's what Kane, that's the thing. Yes, he's a narcissist, but he just wants to be loved, I think. And I keep going back to that room of suits clapping for him as he opens a thing that he can't play with.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what he grew up with from the age of 6.
Right.
So interesting. This is all so interesting. Like there's so many things.
Man, it's really hard to pinpoint loopholes in this story.
Oh, definitely. But I love it so much. I think this is a situation where everyone's right. Whatever you think he has, you're right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I love that. Cool. There's a cool line that Leland comes back with later on that I want to bring back at some point. But yes, I think Leland calling him out for his narcissism is absolutely 100% correct. It's
Mm.
dog. The way he says it, dude. Like the movie Chirac. This is what Chirac should have been. The
Mm.
one Spike Lee movie, the one where the movie is basically a rap musical about the hood starring Wesley Snipes. It's the worst thing that's ever existed. So don't watch it.
Okay.
But yeah.
I just want to say that, one thing I realized about Kane
Mhm.
when it comes to criticism, when it comes to people who tell him about their interpretation of who he is,
Yeah.
there's no point in any of these scenes where he actually denies it.
True. And Leland is the person who comes at him the hardest, and he accepts it.
Yeah.
In fact, Kane wants him to stay. Remember, because he's like, I want to go to Chicago. I want to transfer to Chicago.
Yeah.
But Kane wants him to stay.
Yeah.
But
It's like,
eventually,
don't go to Chicago. No, just stay. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that just goes to show. But then he does leave because I think he ends up with some really harsh words, and then he goes. And then next thing you know, 1 hour and 15 minutes in, Kane's getting remarried. It's all about yes, this is something else. It's all about making his girl get the come up. I think we all know. We've all had this kind of girl in our life. I don't say it's a guy dating down per se, but you feel like
He was definitely dating down, bro. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
yes.
There's
But
a big difference between his first wife and his mistress. There's a big difference, and I feel like she was his downfall. I feel like she was.
I feel like anyone who was there would have been. They put it like this: once his downfall happened, she became his project, and then what I mean.
Mm.
That was his downfall. Not necessarily her per se, but his obsession with her. Like, you know what I mean? Because again, I think there's this discussion you can have about. I don't want to go into the manosphere right now, but about dating down when it comes to a girl who's got maybe like a talent or something like that, and you're dating down, and you feel like you could it's not I can fix her per se, but it's like I can help her kind of thing. So
Yes,
just
because she did say,
yeah.
Was she like waiting tables or something?
No, she was like a stenographer. So it was some weird job. It wasn't waiting tables, but it was like working at a church, some shit like that.
Yeah, and she was not even happy about that. And he was like, "What did you want to do?" And she said, "I'd like to be a singer." So it's like he wanted her dream to come true so badly that he wanted to push her to get her dream to become a reality, even though she was not as keen as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know if that happened to you, but I've had a girl who became a project. You know what I mean? Like I helped her with her thing and stuff like that.
I genuinely think that.
But yeah,
if you've dated at least 5 people in your life, male or female, you definitely have a project. Whether you were aware of it or not, there was definitely a project somewhere.
Yeah, you want a partner. So yeah, you just want to, but yeah, anyway, that's the whole point. And to me, this felt ultra relatable. Obviously, it goes extreme later on, but this weirdly relatable.
Right.
Yeah, she wanted to sing, so yeah, she's going to the opera. They don't want to take her. That's fine. He'll build his own opera, which he has. But it's just
this goes back to control, though. This just basically proves Jedediah's point. Because he is enforcing, his ideas and what he wants to happen on people. Because this wife kept on saying she doesn't want this.
Yeah.
But kept insisting and insisting and insisting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is she's not there. She's just not good enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kane owns Opera House and the newspapers are reviewing it. So it's all yes men except for his old buddy Leland, who's back for some reason.
Right.
Leland, who was a drunk, who's now who we saw drunk, now appears to be a full-time alcoholic, and he's passed out through his negative review.
Right. Did he pass out by the telegram, I think?
Yeah, on top of the typewriter. Just
on top of the typewriter, sorry, yes.
So yeah, they pull it out, and he finished the article.
Right.
And then when Leland wakes up, he's fired within 2 sentences of them talking. It was wild, actually, because it's beautiful. I even posted on my status about the whole him walking up slowly.
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
And also something that we're skipping is that, what's that guy's name again? Who?
Mhm.
Cameraman.
The DOP.
No, not the DOP, man. The third friend.
Oh, Bernstein.
Bernstein was in the room with
Oh,
Jedediah.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
basically, he mentions that he talks to Jedediah and says, Kane is basically finishing your article and he's writing it as you. So he's not changing what you were initially writing. He's
Yes.
continuing exactly what you were writing, even though it was bad things about him.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, then it drops a nice line where it's like, yeah, I guess you showed him. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, drops that little line at the end. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It shows that Bernstein is not just a yes man. Like, he's got thoughts of his own.
Yes.
He's just a part. He just follows the vision too deeply to really get out.
Right.
But so that was nice. And then he walks up and then gets fired. Yeah, just like that. And I think that's kind of not really the end, but yeah, no, it kind of is the end of Lent, because you kind of get a thing where he says the last time he spoke to him, Kane tried to talk to him, but he rejected it, and that was the last time they ever spoke. And that's out of the end. That's kind of sort of the end of Jedediah. You kind of see a non-verbal part of him later on, but I think Jedediah is he's a charming, charismatic man who, I think that's why they kind of hit it off, because they're both charismatic, charming guys.
Yeah.
But I think Leland is the failed idealist. Like, he is, yeah, I think that's what he is, the failed idealist. Comes an alcoholic, he starts looking at the small things in life. When before, he was like, I am with you. I want to be a part of this mission for the people.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, I feel like he is the Eduardo of the social network.
Yeah.
Well, apart from Eduardo was not an alcoholic, but
yeah, you're right.
His loyalty to his friend
Mhm.
dwindles over time.
Yeah.
That's basically.
And the friend just blows past him, and he gets. Well, luckily, unfortunately, Eduardo is based on a true story, so they couldn't dramatize it. But I feel like I got social network vibes in this movie, by the way. I absolutely got social network vibes.
It's only hitting me now that we're talking about it. I didn't get those at all initially when I was watching it.
It's the same principle where you get everything you want, but nothing you need. Zuckerberg is unhappy at the end as well. Kane is unhappy at the end as well.
Right.
They both have this best friend that look up to them. We see more of Jedediah, fortunately. And we kind of see how the disillusion hurt Jedediah. He went from an idealist to a person who just like, just give me another cigarette, man. These doctors, I know they're trying to keep me alive, but I want another cigarette.
Yeah. For me, he's the second most important character in the story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. So yeah, that's what happens there, and it kind of ends with this kind of cool character, charismatic, just kind of living for the moment now because he's given up those things.
Right.
Heartbreaking in a way, but it's like this is a consequence. But again, like you said, he's rich. He's still rich. He's not a poor man.
No, it's not a poor man at all.
Even though he does gives back the $25,000 later on. But yeah. Anyway,
look, you cannot buy me. I'm not one of the people that you can easily just buy to get your way, but I'm your friend, and that's when he posts, those declarations to him.
Yeah, send it back.
Yeah.
Which is the own thing, which we'll get to. 125 minutes in, we're now back to real time, and we're back to Susie.
Right.
Finally calmed down enough to talk, and well, not really, but yeah, it's about Susie's sense of control. This is what the section's about, really. We kind of see how he took away her control. We get this amazing show of power in a flashback, only for it to turn out that the flashback was tied to an even further flashback, or rather earlier flashback, where we see them singing on the piano table. And my God, like, oh my God, this is one of my favorite scenes right here. Is she's singing and this guy's like, nah, dog, you're fucking up, man. This is not right. You got to do it like this. And I can't even tell. I'm not an opera singer, so I don't even know what's so bad about it. It's like, no, it's going to be like, no, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just, you can tell she's like freaking out. And then he's like, you know what? I give up, man. I've tried. This is impossible. You can't sing. And Orson Welles says, no one paid you for your fucking opinion, boy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, you don't understand. If she goes out there, we'll all become the laughing stock of things of the opera world.
Right.
And he's like, no. I tell people what to laugh and what not to laugh at. You know what I mean? And then he's like so scared that he actually sits down and starts making her sing again. And you can kind of see she's upset about the whole situation. And he's just watching. And he's like, yeah, I knew you'd see it my way. When he said that, I was like, fuck, I would fight you.
But look, at the end of the day, it's about the fact that he's paying him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that that man continued to train this woman, even though he was so frustrated by her. First of all, the wife doesn't want to sing. Second of all, this man doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. And he has no faith in her. Yeah.
He has no what?
Faith in her as a singer. So
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't have been there for that long.
Yeah, and also he's not. If he has no faith in you as a teacher, then this is a bad deal already. Like you should go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But Kane is like, sit down, you keep singing. Dog. Yeah, they're trapped. It's a prison. Yeah. And then we get to that grand event where she was being yelled at to like improve. It was being berated. And we see the stage open, let's talk on the other side, which is just, DOP is a genius. Anyway, we see Kane's pride as she sings, and we see Leland's indifference. We see Kane's new staff cringing. Even Kane's boy, Bernstein is passing out. People start talking badly. Kane is still blown away by the performance that no one else.
He's the only one that's captivated by this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess you could say that he's delusional at this point.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely insane. He's just out there with the famous clapping scene.
Right.
Kane is blown away. No one else is. After all, and then after all of that, we get a new kind of Susie. All that cuteness is gone. Now she sounds like she's from New York. Just that Brooklyn voice, dog. Then we get the scene we talked about before, about the 25K and the Declaration of Principles. He calls it an antique and he rips it up. And to me, this was I don't know if you've seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah, well, I didn't finish it, but yes, I have seen it.
Right, there's a scene where like everyone knows where he's under the thing, he's looking for the money. And he can't find it because it turns out that what's-her-face has spent it, or rather put it away, has invested the money. So he's under the floor and he's like, and he's like screaming and he's crying and then he starts laughing. And everyone agrees that that moment is the end of Walter White. And now he's just Heisenberg. You know what I mean?
I see.
From then onwards, it's just Heisenberg.
Right.
And I feel like that was the end of Kane. And now it's just Heisenberg Kane. It's cold Kane now.
Heisenberg Kane, yeah.
Yeah. So now pissed, he forces Susie to be now that he's pissed off about the whole declaration thing and the end of his last friend, he forces Susie to be a star, a diva singing across the planet as the Inquirer, the newspaper, lies. The world tour montage ends with them breaking into a room as she's overdosed and tried to kill herself.
Right.
He even controls that narrative of her attempted suicide. She tried to kill herself to leave a message. And then finally he lets go of the dream. Only after she tries to kill herself. The Xanadu is now built and now they're in a mega castle. And it looks ridiculous how big it is. You see the fireplace.
It is huge.
Dude, it is ridiculous.
It is huge.
Man. Yeah, the inner mega castle, the montage brilliantly shows passing time as you see jigsaw puzzle after jigsaw puzzle after jigsaw puzzle. And now they are so far apart, they literally can't hear each other. So it's the table scene all over again.
Yes, yes. Which
Yep.
I guess you could say says a lot about him being a husband.
Yeah.
Because clearly the woman he's with,
it doesn't matter. She makes clear and logical complaints that it's just going to be him with a bunch of yes men who don't want to go to this beach thing. Everyone's fine in the house. What you're saying makes no sense. And he's just like, no, we're going on a picnic. And it's like, oh, okay. They say, it cuts to cars driving. That's just
right.
what he didn't hear a word she said.
Right. Right.
And she's pissed. And then they have a fight at the picnic.
It still goes back to him wanting to be in control. You know what I mean?
Absolute control. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it ends with them fighting again, with him saying, with her putting some bars saying, all this stuff, what's the difference between you giving me a bracelet and you buying a statue for $1,000? You have never given me anything. All this stuff, and you've never actually given me anything. Crazy line. Crazy line.
Was she right though? Do you think she was right, or do you disagree?
I think she was 100% correct, because Jedediah, as you call him, says the exact.
But that's his name though.
The storyline. I think they call him Jedediah like twice.
No. I mean, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember only Charleston calls him Jedediah.
I think you're right. Yeah,
He's
I think
the only one that calls him Jedediah. Everybody else calls him Leland, but.
So yeah, but I hear the word Leland. And when you start saying Jedediah, I'm like, eh. You're right. You're technically right. You're right. Yes. But yes. Anyway, my point is, what were we saying before we got distracted? We were saying
about the wife, like whether she was right or not.
Yes, because Thingamajiggy says again, he wants to be loved by everyone, but he doesn't know how to give it. Because
it's about him.
Yes. So yeah, in fact, actually wrote here. I said, what did I say here? Kane begs for her to stay, but he can't help himself. He has to make it about himself. And she's willing to stay when he talks to her, but he just has to give himself. Instead, he just ends up losing stuff. So he never gives things, he just loses them. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. He's not willing to give a piece of himself at all. Which is why Leland calls himself, or Jedediah calls himself a stooge, because he realizes, I was never this man's friend, I was his stooge. You know what line we said earlier. And I think that's what happens. It turns out she's not the wife, she's a stooge. I think maybe the first wife is the only actual wife.
That's why, yeah.
And I think they may have actually gotten back together if she hadn't died. I think that may have happened eventually.
Probably. If she was still interested, that is.
Yeah. True, she might have just moved on. Yeah. But she's so regal that she might have just kept things. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she leaves, and he kind of loses it. Now,
he loses his marbles, bro. He throws furniture everywhere. He doesn't care about anything anymore at this point.
Yeah, all the stuff doesn't matter. We get.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry. We get. Sorry, man. We're losing the last person. We get the butler 147 minutes in, who immediately asks for money. So the butler is clearly not a friend, you know what I mean? He talks about his reaction, the chaos of Susie leaving. where we hear the word Rosebud when he stops at the snow globe that we'd seen earlier before. Yeah, he destroys everything. Yeah. Unsatisfied, the journalist gets ready to go, and we see a lot of collected goods. The reporter gives an awesome final summary about never knowing what it means and that a word could never sum up a man's life. Yeah, that was beautiful. They gave this massive haul of stuff, like the scaling of this movie, dude. It would cost him $100 million to make this movie.
It's like a museum of artifacts and souvenirs and statues, and it's like a maze of valuable goods, assets.
Yes.
Which I never understood why they got burned at the end, because you can resell those things.
I think what happened was the butler did it on his own, because there's a scene where there's a moment where they say that vase is only worth $2, but they're still gonna sell it. They're still gonna take it up. So I think what happened was the butler was just like, screw some of this stuff. It's not important. He decided on his own that it's not important, and he fucking just threw it away in the fire.
Because
it's the butler.
Charleston was a hoarder, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not sure if there's a significance to him being a hoarder. I'm not sure if that's just something that maybe we're not.
I think he was looking for Rosebud the whole time. I think he's sentimental, man. He's looking for his parents back. I think he's looking for Rosebud. I think he's looking for his past. And he's trying to collect it in the future. That's the way I've always seen it. Like it's a thing that you can't.
Sorry, what about the future?
He can't get the past, so he's trying to collect it in the future.
Oh, okay.
So he thinks having all this stuff will hopefully accumulate to something, but it doesn't, which is heartbreaking. We see the sled that's being thrown into the fire, and we see the name of the thread is Rosebud, the missing piece to the jigsaw of a man's life. And the movie ends as it opened with the no trespassing sign.
Yes.
This movie is experimental, revolutionary. Even now it feels revolutionary.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
That after so many decades, this movie is still stronger than some of the movies that are coming out today. Crazy. Crazy. I don't know what it says about the state of the movies that are coming out recently, but it definitely does show there's a lack of, I wouldn't say people are not as experimental. They are experimenting. There's a lack of striving to be perfect in your project.
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely the case. I think there are some things where we take too many shortcuts. I think someone once said a great movie is 3 good scenes and 0 bad ones. I feel like some of us, we don't strive for the greatness in the small scenes. Like some of those transitions were unnecessary, but am I glad they were there, because they accumulated to an amazing movie. And I feel like some of us, we look at the unnecessary, we try to cut it away. We cut. And let's not forget that in nowadays, movies don't invest like they used to. The only people that get the investment is Marvel, and they're not doing anything with the money. So we don't get that investment that we used to.
Right.
So it's a very tricky situation, that's for sure.
Yeah. Out of 10?
Oh, 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, no, I have no complaints whatsoever. This movie feels like it's longer than its actual runtime.
Yeah. So much happens.
Like a lot happens in this movie. And I think that's the beauty of old movies. Yeah. I think I was talking to a friend of mine a few years ago, and I would say this a lot, even back then, especially back then, that one thing we liked about old movies is you see an entire man's life in one movie. His parents get killed when he's young. He grows up, falls in love, has kids, then defeats the villain at the end of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's what Citizen Kane is. This
Yeah.
entire man's life, even though you know the things that are going to happen. I mean, this movie requires you to pay so much attention that you can't ask yourself where's the first wife because they told you in the beginning that she died from a car accident.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know?
Absolutely. This movie, if made into a Marvel movie, would be 3 movies. It would
Yes.
be Captain America 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? It would be a TV series. It wouldn't be one movie. There's too much in it.
Yes, because I mean, you could say part one is him running the paper.
Mhm.
Part two is the mistress being introduced, his relationship with his wife, him running for governor. And then
Well,
you
yeah,
could say,
him governor, definitely. That's the midpoint. That's the highest. That's him at his highest. That is
yes.
everything going right. Yeah.
And then part three would be
Before.
the arc with the other wife, where he's forcing her to sing and all those situations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there's an old man with no one really paying, with no one. Yeah, once he gives up on the singing, it was him and her in that room, in that big house by themselves.
Yeah. And look, in this day and age, you could say a man like that could have easily brought in another mistress and married that mistress. But I think, because let's be
It's
honest,
Zulu.
like let's be honest, Charleston is a very smart man.
Yeah.
So I think he quickly concluded that it's not about the woman that he brings in that house. He will still feel empty regardless.
Because I mean, if you think about the picnic scene, there was a beautiful chicks. It's like a whole row of them, like outside this when they're singing and the spit and grill. There's a bunch of beautiful chicks there, but
Mm.
he's in the tent with his wife. So yeah, and remember, he brought all those people there.
Yeah,
Telling me he wouldn't have with any of them? Nah, that wasn't the point. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Yeah, man. Is there anything that you want to say before we shut it down?
Not. I'm good, man.
Oh, okay. Guys, yeah, this is Citizen Kane. Please do let us know your thoughts about this film. Like we've said before, it's one of the best movies of all time. Even though it's a movie that came out in 1941, watching it in 2023 blew me away. And
Hold
I've watched a lot of movies. I think you guys have those guys, the guys who've been watching this podcast for a while. You guys know that we talk a lot about movies, but the fact that we watched a 1941 movie and were able to speak for like 1 hour and 40 something minutes on it, that alone lets you know how powerful this movie is. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The journalist is a very important character.
Yes.
There's also a lesson to be learned about looking for something, trying to find meaning in something that shouldn't even have meaning, you know. Because at the end of the day, even though they did that documentary, okay, let me put it this way. Had the editor-in-chief concluded that even though there's nothing more to the Rosebud story, let's just publish this video, we wouldn't have had this movie. Because the journalists wouldn't have had to go out
Yeah.
and try to figure out the meaning of Rosebud.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the connective tissue. It's the connective. Otherwise, it's just a slideshow. Without his connective tissue,
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's one document, it's a documentary. It would have been a documentary within a documentary.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. All right, guys. So let us know your thoughts on the film. Let us know if you like it or not. Do you agree with our rating? If not, let us know. And do not forget to let us know which movies you would like us to cover. But this is Mr. Extraordin with my co-host Rob Sibeko. We'll definitely see you guys on the next one. Cheers.
Peace.